Welcome to the Discount Property Investor Podcast, where we show you how to buy real estate at a discount so you can create wealth over time and income today. Our mission is to share what we have learned from the experience of others and help you make more money investing like a pro. We want to teach you how to create wealth by investing in real estate, the Discount Property Investor way. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. This is episode 12. I am your host, David Dodge, with co-hosts Mike Slane and Ray Bartle. Ray will be joining us today to talk about the basics of wholesaling. That will be the topic of our discussion today. Basics of wholesaling. Don't forget to check us out at discountpropertyinvestor.com. Ray, I'm going to let you have the floor, and we're going to jump right in. Basics of wholesaling.
Okay, thanks. Welcome, everyone. Today I'm going to go over wholesaling, just the basics. A lot of times people get very confused on what wholesaling is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the three areas that how you can wholesale properties and kind of give you an overall feel for how to get into the wholesaling business. So first of all, our website, of course, is freewholesalecourse.com. Sign up there and make sure you sign up for our podcast. A little bit about me. Again, I'm one of the partners here at Discount Investor, our property investor. My background, my family, more blue collar. My stepfather worked at Ford Motor Company for 30 years, and I'm pretty much on a blue collar family and grew up through the ranks. Went to Southeast Missouri State, which is Southern University here in Missouri. One of the first people in my family to actually graduate from college, and actually later on ended up getting an MBA too, a Master's in Business Administration. I was your typical guy who went through college and got an education, and was always told go out and get a great job, stay at the same company for 30 years, which never happens anymore, right, guys? I think I've changed jobs at least 10, 12 times until we finally decide that we're going to be in our own business. I'm a .com in the 90s, so my background's technology. I actually purchased my first house when I was 22 years old. So I've been in real estate a long time. Actually, another thing I've done, I'm a founding member of a RIA here locally in St. Louis called the Southside Investment Club. We currently have over 3,000 members online. You can check us out at meetup.com, and you can see what we're doing here in St. Louis. Actually, I'm a real estate broker here too in the state of Missouri. So that's kind of my background. So what I want to get into is exactly what we're going to cover today. Cut me out there. So the first thing, I think the biggest thing about real estate is attitude. So as you can see on your screen, don't be this guy. I don't know how many times I go to meetings and we, raise your hand, how many people, have been coming to more than three seminars or three different meetings, and they basically just sitting on the couch, playing video games, and don't ever get out and do anything. So what I try to tell people, do something. Your attitude is everything. The other thing, a lot of your family members are going to tell you, you can't do that. You're a tech guy. How can you be a real estate guy? Just have a good attitude about the business because it really works. One thing I will suggest to people is this book that's it's weird, but it's called Rhinoceros Success. In this business, you have to be a rhino, in my opinion. In fact, Raise Rhinos is a group here in St. Louis, but rhinos make it happen. I mean, if you think about it, a rhino is a 3,000-pound piece of meat just charging down the road, and nothing gets in their way. And that's how you got to do this business. You got to keep going forward, and quit listening to the people. You got a little bit of ears like the rhinos. You don't want to listen to what all these people say. Hey, that can't be done. You're a tech guy. I mean, how many times have I heard that? So I said, be a rhino, not a cow, and keep charging. Mostly, and people, what does that mean, Ray? Well, rhinos are charging down, they're getting houses, they're building their business. Cows are sitting in a field chewing grass and cud and waiting to become hamburger. So that's the choice you have. So in this business, I always say, go forward, learn something. What do you think?
That's great,
crazy?
man.
Okay.
I love it. I love it.
Everybody thinks I get passionate, but I am passionate about this.
I've never heard that analogy. I love it.
All right. Well, that's read the book, you'll get it. And here's actually Scott Anderson. Actually, I have a signed autograph of his book. He wrote it when he was like 26 years old. But basically, he's the author. I give him credit for it. I just say keep charging. The other thing, the next thing, after you decide that, hey, I can make this happen, I'm not going to sit on the couch and play video games all day. You have to figure out, who are you? What's your profile? You know, we call it GOSPA, a GOSPA strategy, which Bill's going to cover in an upcoming webinar. But basically, what that means is who are you and who are you not? Okay, in my opinion, there's 3 personality traits for investors. You know, winning strategy for each. Are you a rehabber? You know, that type of person is organized. They're aggressive. They like to plan. They're planners. They like hands-on, project-oriented. They're kind of artistic because you have to be able to go into a building and say, knock this wall out, open this up, put the bath. I mean, you're somewhat artistic, and you love to see things built. Now, wholesaler, what I'm talking about today, we are kind of gamblers. We're deal makers. We're sales type people, high energy, self-starters. We can relate to people well, and we are type A plus. And that's pretty much how wholesalers' attitude and their type of personality. Now, if you're not that kind of person, you're not a rehabber, the third category I always go to is a landlord. Okay, that person's a conservative person. They're pretty thrifty. They're a saver, a planner. And they basically are thinking long term. They can look at a house and say, hey, here's a house I can buy, I rent it out, make a couple $100, $300 a month net. But in 10 years, this thing is going to be worth $50,000 more. So that's the 3 investment types and personalities that I think, and you have to be real with yourself. Who are you? Are you one or the other? Well, today we're talking about wholesalers. As you can tell, that's kind of where I play. So you want to be a wholesaler. So, you know, basically, what is wholesaling? Well, a lot of people call it flipping properties, selling contracts. Now, when people say they flip properties, I say, what does that mean? You buy it, fix it, and sell it? You're a rehabber. If you just get a contract and you sell the contract, you're a wholesaler. That's pretty much the difference. You're buying below market and you're selling below market. You're picking the spread up in the process. I mean, basically, you control real estate by putting it under contract and sell to another investor. You can basically have a $100,000 asset you have control of for very little earnest money. I mean, think about it. I give a guy $100, I have a $100,000 house. I have control of that, and that's kind of what we're going to teach you here today. And the spread sometimes can be, $500, $2,000, $10,000, and more. Some people talk about, hey, I made a $100,000 wholesale deal. Personally, I've been in business since 1981, and I've not done a $100,000 one. I'd love to do one, but I've done some 10,000 plus. So it's really doing a lot of sales type things, and the more you do, the better you get at it. But the spreads are not, like a rehabber, they're going to put the money down. They're expected to make more money than you are as a wholesaler. And in order for you to keep being a wholesaler, you have to make sure the prices you give your rehabbers are enough that they're making money too. Mm-hmm. Don't get greedy and put too much money on it. Here's the top 10 reasons I believe people are so interested in wholesaling. It's a great way to get started for newbies. People that just get started start wholesaling. Now, I was a little different. I started out as a rehabber, and then I got into wholesaling because as I did marketing, I'd have more projects coming in that I wanted to do, so I'd sell to my buddies, my investor buddies, make a few $1,000s, and that's pretty much how I got into wholesaling probably 15 years ago. Good thing about wholesaling, it provides you quick profits. You can get something under contract, right, one day, and 10 days, 15 days later, you can get paid. Now with a rehabber, was it 6-7 months probably, right? Sometimes 3 or 4.
Doesn't happen that fast.
Doesn't cost that fast.
Sure.
That's the beauty of it's quick money.
You make a really good point, though. I mean, just your story about backing into wholesaling. You kind of backed into it. So anyone who's out there is already doing real estate as a rehabber. You've got to keep in mind, if you're coming across great deals, here's another way to monetize that. Is through wholesaling.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, because like you're saying, you don't want to stop your marketing because once it's like a train, you pull on a train along, you never heard when a train starts moving, boom, 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 as every car hooks together? Well, when you stop your marketing, guess what? The train stops and goes boom, 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 but you have to get it going boom, boom, boom again to get your marketing going again. So what I say, never stop marketing.
Yep.
Never stop marketing. The good thing also with wholesaling, you don't need capital. I've never had anybody ask me for my credit check or anything. I never asked if I had the money, really. I had $100, so I'd get a contract. No credit. You don't need credit. Just a little knowledge that you're going to learn with us on this webinar. Low risk. I mean low risk because you have a contract Okay, so it doesn't work out. You lose $100. You know what the heck? Sometimes you can get your money back if it's in the areas that we'll teach you here in this course. Good thing about wholesaling, good way to get extra income quickly. And then another thing, maybe you don't want to be a landlord. Maybe you don't want to be a rehabber. You're kind of the wild, wild west guy that wants to go out and get contracts and wants some fast money. That's the good thing about wholesaling. And there's so many cash buyers out here today, and people don't believe this, but if I have a good deal, I never have a problem getting rid of it. Mm-mm. The problem is finding it. Wouldn't you agree, Dan?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's not a problem of, can I sell it? I got to get it a price, get our contract, and there'll be people lined up. Mm-hmm. The other beauty of wholesaling, you don't need a real estate license. Although I do have one. Mainly, I got it because when I did rehabs, when I listed property, I didn't want to pay the 6% or 7%. I just wanted to pay littler amount of money to the buyer's agent. Sometimes I didn't pay anything because I sold it myself.
Hey, Ray, this is actually a really great list. I'm going to do a quick recap if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead.
So Ray just talked about the top 10 reasons to wholesale. Let's do a recap. So number one, great way to get started for newbies. Guys, you don't need to have tons of experience to wholesale. Get out there. You can do this day one. Number two, wholesaling provides quick profits. So true. And these profits don't take months. Like Ray mentioned a minute ago, you can get paid out in days to weeks. Number three, requires little, sometimes no capital. Number four, you do not have to have great credit. You don't need any credit to do this business. Number five, just need a little knowledge. You do not need a ton of knowledge to get started. And really what we provide in the freewholesalecourse.com is basically what you need to know to get started today. 6, low risk, guys. There's not a lot of risk involved. It's just the earnest money, and oftentimes you can get it back. Number 7, need extra income. This is a great way to make extra money in real estate. You can even do this part-time. Number 8, you do not want to be a landlord, or you don't want to be a landlord. This is a way to get involved in real estate. You don't need to buy properties and manage people. You manage the contracts for the most part. Number 9, a lot of cash buyers looking for properties. As Ray mentioned, we do not have problems selling good deals. They sell themselves. Right. It's very easy to sell a good deal. Oftentimes, a couple text messages or word of mouth and it'll sell. It's not hard at all, guys. And then number 10, you do not need to be a licensed real estate agent or broker. Me personally, I am not licensed. And we do several deals a week. Yeah. So I just wanted to give you a quick recap. That is an awesome list that you put together here, Ray. And thanks for sharing.
Thanks. Yeah, no problem. I get a little excited about it if you can't tell. But the next thing about wholesaling and real estate in general, there's kind of a formula that everybody seems to be going to, which we call it MAO, maximum allowable offer. And that's pretty much what we call after repair value, which we call short for ARV. Okay, so after repair value means once I buy this house, I fix this house, and I sell the house on the market as a retail sale, what price can I get? So what's the market value when I get done? Now that's the tricky part of the business, and we'll kind of address that here later on. You take that number, ARV, times a 60 or 70%. Now the rehabbers are going to be on the 70% area, so wholesalers typically be less than that. Sometimes people back into the number where they say, hey, 70% minus, hey, I want to make 5,000, they take 5,000 off. Or some people start at 50, 60%, but you got to figure out what percentage, especially every area is different. Some areas you got to get 40%, some areas you got to pay 80. Isn't that right, David?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In St. Louis, we go as low as 30% in some of these areas that are very, very undesirable. And we'll go as high as 80, very rarely 85, but 80 is pretty much the higher end.
Yeah, the great school district, you have to pay more. But,
pay more.
And also the repairs. So basically the repairs, what you think it's going to take to fix the property, kitchen, bath, you got to be able to add these numbers up. So there is math involved in this business. And I share this with the sellers when I actually go out and make an offer. And they say, why are you at 60 or 70%, Ray? I say, well, you got to carry it, you got to pay the taxes, you got to get insurance. While we own it, we got to put utilities and we got to cut the yard. And guess what? At the end of the day, I tell a seller, believe it or not, we're in this to make a profit. And they laugh. Most of the time they laugh. They go, oh yeah, we know that. But then you make your offer. But anyway, that's why we start. And I explain that to sellers. And I actually show them the comps while I'm there at times, if they get really interested.
Mm-hmm. One thing I do want to add in here is that the repairs are sometimes very difficult, and in the freewholesalecourse.com we actually have a simple PDF that
right.
you can download.
Yeah.
That it just kind of lays out, basic repairs for low, middle, and high end, rehab. So check it out online, guys. freewholesalecourse.com. In the repair module, there's an area where we have a download for you to help estimate those repairs.
Yeah, that's a great part, and it kind of goes into my next slide. I mean, kitchens can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, and my partner and I did one. I think we probably spent $40,000 or $50,000 on just the kitchen. So depends on what area you're in. Bathrooms, and like Dave was said on our website, we have this kind of set up for wholesalers where you can just go check, and you come out and say it's a $20,000 rehab. Always have, and I just kind of put some numbers up here. Depending, this is St. Louis market. Other areas of the country, California, of course, going to be higher. The Midwest is kind of where I'm at here. Texas is maybe a little about the same actually. But this is you got to be able to get good repair estimates. And Dave, like you mentioned, that little form we put together is really powerful for getting started.
It is, absolutely.
Okay, so the next thing, we're all excited about wholesaling. Well, how do we make money in wholesaling? Well, my opinion, there's three different options, three different ways. First option, which is my favorite, you can close the purchase, and sale simultaneously. It's called a double close. There's no capital required if you do what we call a dry close, meaning I don't have to bring any money. Some title companies require you, or some lenders, if you're doing short sales and that sort of thing, will require that you actually bring a check. So that's pretty much, you do need capital for that for at least a few minutes or a day, and that a lot of times that'll come into what's that service called, that one time where you have the money. Transactional funding. I'm sorry, senior moment there. But anyway, transactional funding, which we're looking to get into. So that's one area that we can also talk about. But the double close is my favorite because most of the time that's how I got started. I need no money. And here's an easy way to. Do you want to add some of that, David?
Well, I just wanted to mention that every state's going to have different rules and different laws. And, we are fortunate enough in the state of Missouri where we don't need to have transactional funding most of the time, okay? In some situations, we will need to have transactional funding if the lender that we're selling it to requires that we own the property first. But 9 times out of 10 in our state, which is Missouri,
that's true,
we can dry close the deal where we won't have to come to closing with any money. So what I do want to just kind of throw in here on a side note is, check with your local title companies in the state that you're in, because everyone's going to have a little bit different rules and laws. But if you're in a good state, and I hope you are, then you can do double closes, and we call them dry funding, because you don't need to have any money. You can align your A to B and your B to C contracts for the same day, and show up with nothing and leave with a check.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
Can't beat that, man.
Well, here's a kind of a picture of how this thing works. So here's a wholesaling double close. So it's real. And I think when you see something in the picture, I mean, it's like you can actually see it. So A and B, you'll hear this a lot. A, B, B, C, like David was saying. AB is the first contract. As you can see, I just offered A, who actually owns the property today, a $40,000 contract I signed and gave it to them for signature. So right now, for $100, I have a $40,000 asset under control. So like David said, I go and I text my buddy, who's a C buyer, and I write another contract with C, and I $50,000. Hey, give me, I make $10,000 on this thing. So I got 2 contracts.
Now, Ray, let me just help out here for the folks that aren't seeing these actual images on the podcast here.
Point.
Okay, so A would be your motivated seller. Okay, so B would be us in the middle as the wholesalers. So we would do, we would market out to our motivated sellers, and we would go get a contract with A. That's your A to B. So we would then control the contract. We would control the property. And then we would then take that contract and we would sell it. Now, Ray mentioned C buyer, ABC. So we are always in the middle at B. So we get a contract with A, and then we turn around, we sell it to C. And to illustrate the image that we have here on the video series, the A to B contract is $40K, $40,000. The B to C, so we then take that contract and sell it to C for $50,000, and we then have a $10,000 spread.
And there it is, the $10,000 spread.
Love it.
And this is technically, you'll probably have to pay some title fees, but technically, A to B is 40, B to C is 50. You get the difference. You're B in the straight in the middle. So that's a double close. Now, the second way, the second option on how to wholesale make money is you assign the contract to a wholesaler and let them close. It's called, and you have to have an assignment agreement, which, we have a one-pager on the website that you can use to get the assignment. The way that works is, first of all, I have a contract again. I'm B. I have a contract with A, who actually owns the house today, who's the motivated seller. I'm B, the wholesaler. I have under contract. I talk to my C, and hey, C, I'll give you this contract. I have one contract, and I assign it to C as an assignment fee, in this case, $10,000. So the way that works is at closing, unless you can get C to pay you before closing, which most of the time they probably won't, but at the closing table, they'll have a $10,000 line item on the HUD or settlement statement with your name or company on for $10,000. So when C closes, your check will be cut to you. And C gets the property, he goes on, he makes his money as a rehabber.
Yeah, one of the benefits, Ray, of doing the assignment is that you don't even need to go to the closing table.
That's good.
You can literally use a one-page assignment agreement, and you can sell your contract to your rehabber, your landlord, your end buyer, and then they go to the closing table and they sign and they pay, and you just get paid out, at closing. They can either mail you a check or wire it to you, or you can pick it up, however, works the best for you. Assignments are the best and they're the easiest. However, you have to be very transparent when you use an assignment. So,
That's right.
Mike, can you touch real quick on why you would want to double close a deal versus why you'd want to do an assignment? Like, what are the pros and cons?
Sure. So I guess the other pro to using an assignment, David said, one is it's easy. You don't have to show up. Well, the other one is there's no cost to you as the B wholesaler. You're not paying your closing costs in this instance. You're only having one transaction, so it's the A to C. So there's only one set of closing costs, and you're not having to pay it.
It's a very good point.
So when are you going to use an assignment versus a double close? It really just depends on your comfort level with the buyer. A lot of people will talk about profits, and I've even said it in the past, is anything over $5,000, I'm going to try to do a double closing just to kind of protect it. Well, I almost say it depends on if you know your C buyer.
Exactly.
If they're comfortable paying you $25,000 for a property, and they know that it's worth it, they're going to pay it.
Yeah, simplify the whole process. But if you don't feel comfortable, or they don't feel comfortable knowing that you're making that kind of money, then you can hide it by double closing. That's a very good point.
Right. So I mean, if we're talking $1 million house and you're making a $25,000 fee, I mean, they might be comfortable with that.
It's not that much.
It's not a big deal. But again, it's knowing your buyers, and I think to get started, I would recommend using the double closing. In most cases, finding a title company that's going to work with you and is going to give you kind of investor rates, so that you're not necessarily having to pay.
Yeah, you have a good
so
point,
much.
Mike. If it's $1 million house, 25 grand's nothing. But if you're paying $5,000 for it and selling it for 30,
right?
Yeah,
that changes everything.
Right. So there's a lot of different variables, but again, it's really, in my opinion, it's your comfort level with your C buyer.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Some of those C buyers have a hard time if you make $5,000. So sometimes you just got
even on
you got to know it. It depends. If you eventually, what'll happen in wholesaling is you'll have a set of C buyers that are calling you for property. So you'll know who's willing to pay and who's not. So that's the best part about the wholesaling game, because you'll know you'll sell multiple properties to the same guys over and over and over. You can't find enough is the problem right now. So the third way, option 3, is you can close on the contract, and at some point in the future, you sell it. Now for this, I don't know who coined this phrase, David, with wholetailing. And I spelled it like that. Other people spell it other ways. I don't know how you spell it yet. I don't think it's been coined yet. But I heard it probably 5-6 years ago. Somebody said wholetailing. Hey, I like that name. But anyway, so I kind of took it from them. But in this case, you need money for this. Now this. Let me describe this. So you go to a house. It has so much stuff in it, nobody can see what it has in. They can't even see the bathroom. But you know it's a heck of a deal. Maybe you're willing to crawl over all the boxes and stuff to see what's in there. But the next person, the C buyer, comes in, he's not going to see it. He can't see the value. So what we do is we buy the house, we clean it up. Sometimes it's more of a paint and carpet kind of thing at the most. Let's say I clean it all out, I have a dumpster full of junk. Now people can actually walk through the house. And I may be able to do a little painting here and there, not a lot of money, and then I put it back on the market. so that I can get a bigger amount of money based on me actually buying the property. Does that make sense?
Oh, it's perfect. It's a perfect example. So, option 3, really though, I want to simplify this for our listeners and our viewers here. It just means that you buy it, so you actually close on it, and then you sell it at a future time. So, option 1 was double close. Option 2 is an assignment. With option 3, you have multiple exit strategies. So wholetailing is one of those exit strategies. You buy it, you clean it up a little bit, and then you maybe list it or you sell it to a retail buyer. The other way to do option 3 is just buy it and then still sell it at a discount to another person, without doing the paint and carpet. Maybe you do a little cleanup. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just buy it and you hold it for a week or two.
Here's a nice picture of here's a property that you buy. You got to wholesale it, one contract. And you just clean it up a little bit, and wow, we really cleaned that one up.
Yeah, for those listening, we've got a shack and a mansion right next to each other.
Yeah. It's not like that actually, but you get the idea. I think that's called wholetailing, and it's the third one that we kind of teach here.
But it's a really great strategy, folks. And really, some of the best deals that you can do in this business are done, via wholetailing. So again, they do require a little bit of money, but you don't have to have money necessarily. There's hard money lenders out there and private money investors that you can partner with, and you can use their money and split the deals with them. And here's, earlier Ray had mentioned that, when you have a great deal, they sell themselves, and they really do. If you come across a really great deal, go to a RIA, find somebody that's doing a ton of deals or has money, and partner with them. If it's a good deal and they see the numbers make sense, you're going to have people fighting over wanting to partner with you on these deals.
Anything you get, bring it to me.
That's right.
Okay, so here we go. In summary, to be successful, the one thing, the ARV is important. You got to be able to determine what the comparables. Those are recent sales in the area. I'm sure we'll address that in the series along here, but you have to have good comps. Again, we talked about estimate repairs. You have to be able to get a good repair. But the beauty of being a wholesaler is, let's say you're wrong, you missed something, there's a foundation problem or something like that. Guess what? If you have 3 or 4 other guys that are going to buy the house from you, walk through the house, they'll see that. And as long as you have an out, you can get out of the contract. Or maybe you lose your $100. So you always have a backup there. You have to have some contracts to wholesale the property. I mean, you can use your local real estate agent type contracts, agreements, or you can get online and find them, or even talk to a local attorney.
So we've added one contract to the free wholesale course. This is a very, very basic contract, folks. It's a 1-pager, and it's actually probably only about 3/4 of a page long. It's very, very basic, and we're giving this one away for free. We definitely recommend that you write your own contract or hire an attorney to get your own contract, or work with an agent to get a contract. But the one that we're giving away for free, it's 1 page. It's super, super simple. And the reason that we're giving it away is because you don't need a 30-page contract to do these deals. 1 page is really all you need. I personally use one that's 2 or 3 pages, and I kind of vary between different contracts. But the one that we're giving away, I've used it 10 or 15 times myself. It's not rocket science here. You just need something that has, it lays out what's happening here. I'm buying this property from this person, and I'm paying them this amount, and we're going to close on this period, and that's it. Moving forward.
That's good. Yeah, and actually, our attorney did review that, but he's not all over the country. He's Missouri mainly. But anyway, that's contracts. You're going to need those. As I said, your personality. You got to have some sales ability, be able to let people trust you, to let you have access to their property. Buyer's list to sell. Kind of David hit that. Hit your local RIA. You have to have a title company that will do wholesaling. Some title companies will not do wholesaling. You need to find out. Most of the time you'll find that out at your local RIA, actually. Just ask around. So that's pretty much the summary of wholesaling. It's a really great way to get in real estate at a very reasonable price. And it's a way that you can make a lot of money. You can work as hard as you want. Like I said before, there's 3 different ways to wholesale. You can do a double close. You can assign the contract, or you can do what I call wholetailing. Last but not least, some upcoming events that we're going to be providing people. We're going to be able to provide people some of the online marketing tools that we use here at Discount Property Investor. Also, we're going to be able to, as we get locally into your RIAs, we're going to be able to get with a local person there to help put a system together to be able to get comparables or comps straight off the MLS data locally. That's going to be a little longer process, but it is capable. We have that here in St. Louis and Illinois, on the Illinois side, through a system that we're using. DPI also will be making some visits to some of your local investment clubs as our business continues to grow and as we get more and more people asking us to come out and speak at their RIAs. We've had 2 or 3 different cities that we're looking to get into, and that will be coming into you as the podcasts continue. Again, my name's Ray Bartle. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope you learned something today, and wholesaling is it's just a great way to get in the business. And like I said today, be a rhino. Don't be a cow and wait to become hamburger.
That's right.
Am I right?
Oh yeah.
Sitting in there waiting for something to happen. Don't be sitting on the couch playing videos all day talking about doing real estate. Get out in the field, make offers. Last one, perfection is the enemy of progress. I mean, come on, be a rhino. Just keep going forward and get your business going and quit. I always tell people, do something.
That's
Again,
great.
Thanks for your time, and hopefully you learned something today.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Ray. We really appreciate it. Guys, don't forget to check us out, discountpropertyinvestor.com. Some of the things that we had mentioned that we were going to be giving away in the freewholesalecourse.com today was a repair estimate sheet. It's very basic, very simple, one page. You can download it on freewholesalecourse.com. Also, we have a very, very basic, generic one-page contract that we're going to be more than happy to share with you guys.
Make sure it gets reviewed, though.
Make sure it gets reviewed. Yeah, we are not lawyers by any means.
No way.
But I've used it. It works. The whole point is that you don't need to spend hours and days and weeks on a contract. You just need something on paper, guys. It's very simple. So that's kind of a good wrap up of our episode today, guys. Ray, I want you to repeat that quote for me one more time. We're going to end with the quote.
Okay. Be a rhino. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Go forward.
That's right.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. We would also appreciate it if you left us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Thanks in advance for your support. And remember, you make your money when you buy and get paid when you sell. Now let's go build some wealth.